All right, y'all, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of hashtag CB99 Talks. I'm Combo Breaker 99. This is episode 9. And I'm back with another episode with y'all, man. Been a little bit, of course, just so much been going on around the country. Just kind of been going around the area. A lot of tension, still a lot of tension, not just, around the country, but even in my area, so much going on. So it's definitely a topic I want to talk about, as far as, the innocent lives taken in this situation. All of these different situations, and I'm seeing how it's just really starting to come to light, how it's really reached that boiling point. So we're going to talk about that. Into the women's MMA world, we're going to talk about Megan Anderson. Megan Anderson, she had some recent words about Felicia Spencer and her title shot coming up this weekend, tomorrow to be exact. Megan, she kind of spoke on Felicia Spencer, as far as, in so many words, she kind of said that she didn't really earn the title shot. She didn't really earn it. So, we'll kind of go into that. Also, Antonina Shevchenko, after her loss to Caitlin Chikagian, where does she stand as a mixed martial artist? Where does she stand in your eyes, and where she stands in my eyes? Of course, y'all can tell me in the comments section later. But I'll give you my thoughts on that. Mackenzie Dern, what does her win over Hannah Cyphers do for her? So, we'll talk about that as well. And, of course, fight night is tomorrow, so we'll discuss Amanda Nunes versus Felicia Spencer. And I'm not going to do a full-on prediction on this show. I'm going to probably do it I'm going to do it here on a live stream later with Coach Shelton Harrison, because he wanted to do a breakdown with me, kind of get my keys to victory and my prediction on that. So we're either going to do it here or over on his channel. So, you can check us out on either channel a little bit later on. But yeah, man, those topics for today. But before I get started too, man, I just went for a run, as you can see. I don't know if I'm like glossing. I'm glossing on the camera. I tried to get some of the sweat off, but I was like, shoot, let me go ahead and do this show, man, because this is a combat sports show anyway, so I don't have to come in here looking all like, what swagged up and clean and all that. I didn't even shave, but that's what this is. I get my road work in, so when I get the road work in, you can just see that I'm really being legit, but man, like I went running today, it's hot as hell, but the thing about the run I just kind of want to bring up to y'all is the fact that I went out there, it's like almost 90 degrees, got a mile in, and I kind of wanted to turn back, man. Someone's just like saying, oh man, we just turn back around, not that any cops were like out there watching me, because I'm gonna keep running anyway. I don't give a damn. No, the thing was like I just started running. I was like, it's too hot. I got a mile in. Maybe I should turn back around. Something in me just said, nah, man, just keep going. I said, I'm gonna keep going. Went to my 2, 3, 4. Next thing you know, 4.5, and I'm back. Cause you could get like 4.5, 5, 6 miles in. It varies, but I at least want to get 4 in. So when I got back home, I got back in. I was like beat, sweaty, still sweating. But the thing was, I felt like I accomplished something, I felt good. I still felt good about myself. I felt like, like I feel beat up, but I can check that off the list. I got it done for the day, And that's the thing. Like when I did that, I thought about it. I said, okay, what if I just went out there in the heat, got to like half a mile or a mile, and then I said, oh, it's too hot. Let me walk back, or like, let me run back. Oh man, I can't do this. It's too hot. So I get back in. I wouldn't even feel like I accomplished anything. I'll just be like, oh shit, okay. Beat up, exhausted, but I'm a quitter. So that's my point. Like when you commit to something, just go ahead and do it. Just go ahead, go out there and do it. No matter how you feel, if you don't feel up to it, if you go ahead and do it, you complete that task for the day, you feel like you accomplished something. And I did. I said, okay, man, like I feel beat up, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, all that'll go away, but I feel like, yeah, I got something done. But like I said, imagine if I came back after the mile because it was too hot, and I just came back in and I said, I'm beat up, I'm sweaty, but I'm a quitter. So no, I just said, okay, let's get this thing done. I said, let's get this thing done. Let's just get it in. Sometimes you just got to black it out, focus, and just go. That's my words of advice to anybody, like if you just want to get back in shape, or any of y'all fighters out there, amateur fighters that are listening, working out is not always going to be easy. It's not meant to be easy. Especially the course of days that you don't want to work out. Working out ain't a thing where you just do it when you feel like it. You should do it all the time. Doing it, do it harder, go harder on the days you don't feel up to it. Then after that, when you're done, you'll feel like, okay, hey, I feel good. I feel like I accomplished something. But yeah, man, I just had to bring that up, man, because, I came back in. I was like, damn, it's hot as hell. Like, I can't stop sweating, Well, that's normal, It just really turned summer out this way. Like, the heat just went up, so it's just something I had to get used to. When I got back in, I was like, hey, I got it out the way. I still got it. I'm tough on it. But yeah, man. Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up, man. But yeah, man, on to this first topic. Like I said, a lot of stuff been going on around the area, even though it's like a few miles from here. Last weekend we had some protests, peaceful protests. Some of the protests, as they got later, as people, all the regular people, we start getting up out of there, they start turning into riots. They actually started turning into riots, around here. But it's been going on. It's been going on from Los Angeles to Florida. Has friends in Florida that were going to protest, Cleveland, of course, Minneapolis. And a lot of people are just pissed off. They're just really, really showing their emotion right now. They're really angry, and for good reason. The black community is really pissed off. All the black communities are really pissed off now. This was like the boiling point. This was it. Of course, this type of thing has been going on too long. And, and that was like the one thing to me that really struck with me, where it was just like, oh shit, everybody's fed up now. Even like a lot of white people I know, they're actually like seeing this now, and which just kind of like set my paranoia off a little bit, because I was like, damn, like, no offense, but like, where were y'all before when we were telling y'all this? Like, where were y'all before whenever like Colin Kaepernick was actually kneeling? Like, I used to have to have arguments with people on this, and white people on this, because they were saying, Colin Kaepernick was being disrespectful, for kneeling, which it had nothing to do with the flag. It really just had to do with making a statement on what's going on and the mistreatment of black men and black women in this country, but it was just like, we've been saying this, and the thing is, like, a lot of people are saying, oh, he was right. Well, why did you have to let another murder happen before you actually took heart to what he was saying? If everybody kind of would have homed in on what Colin Kaepernick was saying in the beginning, and they all stood with him, and then they all could have got together and said, oh, maybe there is a problem, and we need to really start finding out what's going on, in these police departments around the country, so yeah, I did feel my paranoia kind of go up with that a little bit, because, there's a lot of white people that were just kind of feeling like, oh, yeah, we're out here now. I was like, damn, y'all should have been out here. You know what I mean? I'm glad y'all are now, at least, the ones that are really, out there to expose, the bullying of the cops and the killing. I'm for that. But, yeah, man, like I said, though, there's just been so many people out here that even people I know, that they're just fed up. They're just going out there letting it be known. And I like the fact that people are pushing back. But the one main point I do want to make is that always know your enemy. Know who the enemy is, and always focus on that target. I think a lot of people, no pun with the target thing. I know a lot of people out there hitting target. But what I'm saying is, know that target. Know who your target is. Because with some of the situations you see out here, you do see a lot of peaceful protests, but then you see a lot of rioting. You see a lot of people breaking into businesses and then just stealing. Like, I know you're mad, I know you're angry, but what does your need to steal really have to do with anything? That's why I don't condone loot. I don't condone destroying everything like that. Now, if you're going to hit the cops, you're going to hit the law, that's different. Minneapolis, like a few days ago, was the last weekend now, whenever they hit the 3rd precinct, that was it. That's how they felt. And I say, hey, I'm for that then. They hit the enemy. That's what you're supposed to do. That's the target. You go for them. Don't just hit innocent people out here, like even some black owned businesses. Don't attack these people, focus that energy towards the cops that are pushing down old men or shooting, young girls in the face with rubber bullets or, pepper spraying little kids, So, put all that energy in towards them. That's why I say, like, there has to be a point where everybody has to find that middle ground. Find that middle ground and say, okay, we want to go out here and show emotion and let them know what's going on. And on this side, we are riding, but know why you're riding, come together and say, well, who's the enemy? Okay, we'll push them back. I know a lot of people might disagree with me on that, but that's how I feel. Like, hey, you got to know the enemy and then fight back and push them back. Like, because cops right now, the police departments, are nothing more than bullies. And when I was growing up, my parents always taught me how to deal with a bully. They always said a bully pushes you, hits you, you push him back, or you hit him back. Because if you don't, that bully's going to bother you the rest of the school year. That bully's going to bother you the rest of the school year. And it's always worked out for me that way. It's always worked out for me that way if I did. If I didn't, then I would have been, having a hell of a year, So it was always, push back in those situations. And the same thing with the cops. Like, I'm not necessarily saying, oh, shoot these cops or anything like that. But no, like, if they push you, you got to push them back at these protests. You got to say, hey, man, look, we're people. We're tired of it. Because when you make a bully feel the pain that he's inflicted on you, 9 times out of 10, the bully, he's good at dishing it out, but not taking it. So he'll stop. Eventually, when you keep pushing all of them back as one, that force is one, it'll fall. And then they'll all kind of fall into compliance and say, okay, what we're doing is wrong. Sooner or later, we got to break this. The teaching of how the police force and everything on how they approach black men, all of that procedure is going to change the more and more this thing gets heated. That's how I feel. Like, the more and more we push back in that whole process on how they treat innocent black people, or even anybody that is being tried for a crime or they're being arrested for a crime, they're going to have to treat them better. Like, if you just even go back to the George Floyd situation, this man may have been involved in something with a counterfeit 20, but I saw somebody on Twitter, white man, posted on about him using a counterfeit 20 and getting away with it, and it being like a story at his party. They were joking and shit about it, but like, you see what happens whenever a black man uses a counterfeit 20. It calls for death. No trial, no nothing. It's straight up death. And that's another thing. I think that a lot of good has come out of the social media, the use of social media in this situation. It's been exposing a lot of people. It's been exposing a lot of racists. A lot of people on that side of the spectrum are just like being exposed. They're out there making this George Floyd challenge and, just being disgusting. Like, people taking pictures with the knees on other people's neck, and they're just out there like putting this shit up. So, there's people out there now that are exposing them. They're putting their home addresses and their home phone numbers online now. So I'm like, yo, man, y'all see this? Like, y'all just gonna keep acting up like this, and y'all are getting got out here, And that's why I say shout out to these people that expose them, Some girls out there too, they were just saying, oh man, they're one less in. I've heard one say that. So it was like, we're putting you out there, we're exposing you. And I just wonder about that too. That's one of my things about my paranoia. It's just like, do y'all understand that once y'all do this, your job or your career is done? Y'all gonna lose it. It's over. But it's like they're willing to do it. Their racism is that much stronger than having a family and having a career, that they're willing to make that sacrifice of that statement and say, yo, like, I have to make sure that everybody knows that black people are below every other race. You know what I mean? It's just like with Chavin, whatever his name is, the cop that killed George Floyd. You're willing to kill an innocent man and put your career in the shitter, and then after that put your family in danger, because some people will probably come after your family. Some people are going to come after your family for you killing an innocent man. Is it really willing to put all that on the line? Like, yeah, you might be up for charges now, you and your boys, 4 of y'all are going to prison, but somebody might come for your family all because of you, So was your racism really worth putting all of that? Was your racism really worth putting all of that behind you? Just saying, okay, my racism is more important. My prejudice is more important. Or I'm gonna just say, forget the family. I have to make this statement for my country and my brotherhood and the cops and the police force. It just gets really frustrating. That's just something a little too deep for people, I think. But I think it's just something like around the world. The way a lot of racists teach their offspring. They're teaching them to say that, their lives are not worth anything. So we can always say what we want. We can go on social media and do this. And then it costs them their job. In the end, it'll cost them their job. It'll cost them their livelihood, But they know that them being white and they have that white privilege, they'll just be able to go off and get another job. And then once they do get exposed to their racist ways again, they'll lose their job again. Go on to the next. So it's kind of like a cycle. Even you seen like the news guy from way back, the ugly old white guy that said something about nappy-headed hoes. He lost his show and went back to another show. He apologized, went back to another network and got a show. So it's just somewhere they have to kind of make that subliminal message or that part of the racist statement, willing to sacrifice their job. And then after that, they know that in the end they can go off to another job. But that's just how I see it, man. That's just my way of thinking. That's how I think it works. Like, they really don't care in the end, as long as that white supremacy can always be pushed, But yeah, even back to like Breonna Taylor, like if they said that they were going for even that situation, they're breaking into a home because they felt like this was the person they were looking for. Okay, man, this is how you do, even if the person is guilty. Like, if y'all just go in there and just shoot the person, So their whole way of approaching black people is just like, again, undercover training. Training goes out the door for how they handle black people. It's knees on the necks. It's unloading the whole clip. It's just like berating them on the corner with like 20 guns on them, and they got their hands up. Running a stop sign, calls for you on your belly with 2 cops. With tasers on you, or if you make one sudden move and you get shot. I've heard these. Seen them online, and I've heard stories from, I've had my issues before too. I don't really, I haven't talked about them on this channel because I haven't really but everybody, I've talked to people about these situations before. Even my siblings, they had their run-ins. My friends had their run-ins. So this ain't the first time. This ain't like this the first time this has happened. So that's just one of the things I just wanted to make clearly to people, that I still feel like the once you push back, the police are really going to have to start doing like serious background checks on a lot of these white officers that, want jobs now. Because even like with this guy, man, I know he had to have some type of mental problem, but they were just like, hey, that's the type of guy we need on our force. That's how they were, because this guy had like 12 complaints in 20 years, So he's been out there, he's got a rap sheet. But again, that's what they want on their force. So moving forward in the future, as long as we keep pushing forward more, they're going to start taking these kind of whack jobs off the force, where they're going to have to really run some serious background checks now. Because if something like this happens again, man, I think this is it, So until everything gets into some type of, everything's sort of kind of like falls into terms where, a lot of the protesters can kind of get together and then just like make their point known. That's why they kind of need more like a leader out there to get it more organized. I think they'll start making more rules and regulations on police officers and how they handle everybody the same now, So yeah, man. Another thing, I just wanted to talk about too is going back to like the rioting and protesting. Everybody has to be as one and kind of be more organized. I say that because there are like undercover people out there too. There were undercover people out there where you had some white guys out there dressed in black. I know there was an undercover officer too, but there was another white guy I saw dressed in black, and he was out there like spray painting Black Lives Matter on walls. And then there was like three other people like skaters. They were like smashing like windows and just like hanging off the rafters, kicking windows in. And there was a young black woman out there protest. She said, don't do that, because well, y'all doing that, they're gonna get us, so that's just another thing, like another way of using white privilege in the wrong way. If you want to use it like the other white women that were on the front line. You're on the front line while these black people are protesting. You stand on the front line, because the cops ain't gonna hit y'all like that. I mean, I've seen some do it, but it takes a lot for them to push a white woman like that. But so y'all stand on the front line, but like, don't just go out there bashing shit, because y'all can get away with it. But when you start writing BLM and Black Lives Matter, they're going straight for the black people. They're going straight for the black heads out there. So y'all really have to kind of be more organized with that, man. But yeah, man, just so much going on. Like I said, I really hope that, justice is served. It looks like it is. These cops are on murder charges. They just kind of been upgraded up in charges. But I think that as far as like law enforcement, a lot of things need to change. There really needs to be more of a procedure on how things are handled. They need some type of higher up with officers now, that they just don't know that they're being monitored, because even the body cams aren't really helping. So they really need to have some type of way where they get monitored, and background checks on who they make cops. It just can't be some of these people. I know some of them do have clean records before they go on, because the racism is taught at home. So a lot of the times it's not really acted on yet till they get on the force. So it's just a tricky situation like that, man. But moving forward, as far as like even communities, I think that a better way to have better relationships with other races. I think that in America, man, like, people really just have to know their history now. Like, a lot of white people find this situation to be shocking, but if they knew their black history and included their black history with just regular American history, then they would know something. Ain't nobody saying you'll ever understand how it is, but you'll know why to stand with somebody. You'll know why to stand with that person, because you've read your history and you've done it. But a lot of white people I know, they don't know a damn thing about black history. They know their basics, like Martin Luther King, but none of them really dig deep enough to know a Nat Turner, Sojourner Truth, or Medgar Evers, anything like that. None of them have actually done that research. Like the majority, like there's a lot of people I know that, yeah, they don't. That's why they're always asking me, oh, well, why is so-and-so act like this? Or, like, why did they approach you and not me? Or something like that. Or like they'll say, oh, why'd that cop do that? It was uncalled for. It's like shocking to them, all because there's not a joint. They're not in tune with what they think they are. You listening to rap music doesn't make you in tune or fully cool with a black person. You know what I mean? You just knowing the music ain't gonna cut it. Knowing the rap lyrics to a T.I. song ain't gonna cut it. You know what I mean? You really got to know why certain people are the way they are, why they grew up in certain neighborhoods, why we're paranoid about certain things, So those are just my thoughts on that, on how to make things better or try to get to somewhere better, I just, do my actions. When I get out there, I just be me, and, I say, hey, you ask me on why certain things are, I'm going to tell you. Some people don't like what I say. I've had people unfriend me off of Facebook. I just be like, yo, guess you weren't my friend in the first place, So it really is what it is. But like I said, rest in peace to all the innocent black people we lost in these situations. Even the ones that, were probably doing like a petty crime, but were still killed, and didn't get a fair shake. Rest in peace to those people. And again, like I said, rest in peace to Breonna Taylor, an EMT, was shot in her sleep. Sad. Arnaud Arberry. Rest in peace to him, and of course George Floyd. But yeah, shout out to Floyd Mayweather. He sent them money to pay for the funeral for George Floyd. I thought that was very, very solid. I really appreciate that though, man. That's just something I like to see from a guy like Floyd Mayweather. But yeah, man. Yeah, like I said, leave me in the comments in the comments section what y'all think we got to do as far as moving forward. Yeah, man, but yeah, it's rough out here right now. And I think the tension just kind of grows more and more. It's just growing more and more. But we'll see, man. We'll see how we go from here. Yeah, man. But moving on. A couple weeks ago, I saw this interview. It was an MMA junkie, Megan Anderson. You know, she was kind of giving her thoughts on the featherweight division, and she gave her thoughts on Megan, Amanda Nunes, and Felicia Spencer in the title fight. And no, shout out to Coach Sheldon Harrison. He had actually did a video on this, giving his thoughts. So yeah, he gave you your thoughts. All right, he'll go in on you. But Megan had some words about Spencer facing Nunes. You know, of course, Felicia and Megan, they fought on the same card a few months back. Both had dominant wins, but you know, seems like Megan, she was a little bit more disappointed that she wasn't up for the title shot. You know, she said when it was brought up, she was like, okay, it's fine. You know, they tend to favor her, or they want to push her. You know, so she was just like, well, I'm just keep doing what I do because they tend to favor her. They tend to push Felicia a little bit more. They tend to like her a little bit more. First of all, I have to say in this situation, it didn't have anything to do with playing favoritism. You know, of course, we've seen it in the past. Some women, some men, some fighters, everybody from Conor McGregor to a Paige Van Zandt, will be favored or will get more exposure. But I think this was a different situation, you know. Obviously, you know, I think that Megan Anderson, she wasn't chosen for a good reason. You know, because I remember that night, Megan Anderson had dominant win over Norma Dumont. Felicia Spencer dominant win over Zara Farron. And the question was, who is Amanda Nunes going to fight next? To me, it was pretty obvious. You know, it wasn't really like a gamble, like a roll of the dice type of thing where you had to choose. You know, even Megan was saying, "Oh, you want her to fight next? Who do you think she's fight next?" Well, again, the answer is obvious. Felicia. You know, again, Megan, she wasn't chosen for good reason. It had nothing to do with Megan being disliked by the UFC. I don't think that, you know, I don't dislike Megan. You know, I'm a fan of Megan. You know, I'm a fan of Megan all the way up to Invicta. Not a fan of some of the moves she's been making now, but yeah, I'm a fan of her. But even I'll tell you that she doesn't deserve a title shot. You know, Megan should be familiar with ranking systems. They never really change, you know, from Invicta, Bellator, whatever. They never change. And if you have a fighter that's winning, scoring legit wins, you know, they're staying on that track, that they're the fighter that's closer to the title shot. And I guess Megan is forgetting the key reason why she wasn't picked here is you already lost to Felicia Spencer. And that's another key reason why Felicia would get the title shot over Megan Anderson. You know, Felicia finished Megan in one round by a rear naked choke. And from there, you know, they moved on and they shared a card together again. Like I said, Megan beat Norma Dumont. Felicia beat Zara Farron. Granted, neither one of those are really like big wins, but Felicia Spencer, of course, again beat Megan Anderson, who beat Zara Farron. Felicia Spencer went on to fight Chris Cyborg. You know, lost, but she did at least have that fight under her belt. So I think there was just a lot of things there that I felt like Megan Anderson kind of felt like I can't really say she should be jealous. She shouldn't really be jealous. I don't think it's a full-on jealousy thing. I think it might be the fact that Felicia Spencer is getting, this is her second pay-per-view. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's not the first. I think it's the second, right? Because the Chris Cyborg fight was a pay-per-view. So maybe she's a little envious there that the bigger bag is going to Felicia again. You know, she's getting the second she's getting the second big fight here, the second pay-per-view. But first, I just have to say that Megan Anderson, like I said, I'm a fan of her, but some of the things she says just are kind of out of, they're a little kind of frustrating to hear sometimes because it's just obvious. The answers are just obvious to them. I don't think there's anything to do with her being favored over Megan in this situation. I think that Megan just has to kind of do the opposite of what she said in this interview. When asked about the featherweight division, she said she just kind of has to roll with the punches. She's a company woman. Just roll with the punches and just take the fights on whoever they give her. But I think it's up to her and the other women that want to be at 145 to tell Dana, hey, we need more fighters. We need more fighters in this division so we can build ourselves up and find out where we're at. And that's what Megan needs to do in the meantime. Like if you would have asked me a couple years ago, I felt like Megan Anderson, like when she won the Invicta title, I felt like she would have beat somebody like Felicia Spencer. Honestly, yeah. Moving over to the UFC, if they both came over, I feel like she would have beat her. Because by then she would have honed her craft a little bit more. But somewhere along the lines, I think her train kind of derailed. Because like I said, she was a force when she won that title. But then when she called out Cyborg, the train kind of changed tracks, and she was gone for almost a year. Took on a veteran in Holly Holm, and that wasn't a wise fight. And I think that was another thing that added to her just kind of like not being able to build up where she needed to be as far as a UFC caliber fighter, So in the meantime, I think right now, between Felicia Spencer and the other ladies, Amanda Nunes, if she wants to stay at featherweight, they need to kind of say, Dana White, we need more featherweights. We need some more solid fighters where I could say, I really earned my title shot by beating so-and-so. I earned my title shot by beating 3 or 4 fighters, and now I'm ranked number 1 again. Because right now, with the featherweight division, you only got like 5, 6 women. So it's basically like a round robin. It's a quick game of round robin. Nunes will beat Felicia Spencer. If she beats Felicia Spencer tomorrow, knock her down 1 rank, push Megan Anderson up there. Megan Anderson loses up. It's time for Felicia Spencer again. Felicia Spencer can get a tune-up against Norma Dumont. Megan Anderson lost against Nunes. Up, she can go fight Zara Farron again. Back in there for another rematch. So these ladies are going to be fighting rematches, rubber matches in no time if you don't build up a featherweight division, And then people are going to get tired of that. There'll be no purpose of a featherweight belt. So towards the end of the interview, Megan was right about that, where she said that they should have signed all of the ladies in the Tough House when they did the featherweight edition, which I agree with. They had Leah Letson, Macy Chiasson, Penny Kianzan, Story Ranko. They had a lot. They had like a good 8. I think it was a good 8. And at that time, it was that's what we thought. We thought we were going to get these ladies signed, and then they would have somebody challenge Chris Cyborg for a fight. But it was like Dana scrapped that whole plan, and then these featherweight ladies started forcing themselves down to bantamweight. Now you got Macy Chiasson fighting at bantamweight, which she doesn't look as good as she does at featherweight. So that's just another thing. It was just like, what was the purpose of bringing that featherweight edition show in if you're not going to capitalize? So that is frustrating. I understand, like, to somebody like Megan Anderson now. But like I said, I just don't agree with her feeling like, in so many words, saying that Felicia was a favorite or like they like her better. Like, I don't think there's really like to me, it's kind of even. I think the UFC likes them both the same, in my opinion. I don't see why they would pick her over her, They kept her Megan around this long, so I think it's kind of even. Neither one of them really stands out as far as like over like talking themselves, you know what I mean? Like talking like a Ronda Rousey type game. They're both kind of fair on that. Like Felicia is willing to fight everybody, but she brings the action. Megan brings action, but she talks a big game. She talks a lot, so it's like it's kind of even there. It'll make they both make for a good fight. So I don't see like why Dana would favor her over Megan, vice versa. But yeah, man, like I just think that right now the best thing to do would be like, hey, we all need to get together and protest for a featherweight division, more fighters. And like she did say that, she did say that maybe we could do another Tough House, or maybe we could just bring in some ladies from Invicta and from the outside, bring in more featherweights. Because I know there's a lot of women that would want to fight at 145. Don't tell me all these women want to kill themselves and make 135. There's a lot of solid women out there that could move down from 150 something to 145, and a lot of women killing themselves at bantamweight that would want to move up to featherweight because it would feel better. They would feel stronger. So there's definitely a chance. Well, I won't say a chance. There's definitely the right moves that can be made to make a solid featherweight division. Especially again, like I said, if Amanda Nunes wants to keep both titles, but I think eventually she'll have to drop it. I think she will. But yeah, let me know in the comment section what y'all think about the situation, man. Like, do y'all really think that Felicia Spencer doesn't deserve that title shot? I think she does. And I think that Megan, I did watch Coach Shelton Harrison's video, of course. Like I said, he brought it raw. Say a lot more raw than I just did. But, I do feel like Megan kind of hinted around that she don't deserve the title shot. It's obvious. I wouldn't be doing this segment if I didn't feel that way. But again, like I said, that just gives Megan a chance to kind of work on things, because I think Megan has a very solid game, and I think she's like a solid fighter for the level she's on. But she has so many more levels that could have her take ladies like Amanda Nunes out eventually. And, I think if she gets a little bit better, maybe adds a little more to her game, she could beat somebody like Dern. So call out that fight in the meantime. That would be a solid fight. So call out Dern in the meantime. That'd be a good fight. So in the meantime, while you ain't getting the title shot, earn that title shot. Okay, so, but yeah, man, moving on. Katlyn Chookagian versus Antonina Shevchenko. I made a bad call last weekend. I'm own up to that. Well, I said Antonina by split decision. I said Antonina by split decision, and it was going to be a hard-ass fight for her, which it was last weekend, but I don't even think that was a fight, man. That was just complete dominance. Katlyn Chookagian, shout out to Katlyn. She still had her heart in this thing, man, because first I felt like Valentina took the heart. I ain't gonna lie, I thought she pulled a Kano and she put that heart in her hand, man. I thought she took Katlyn's heart, but Katlyn had it, man. She still has it. She still, like I said, Valentina's on this level. All the other flyweights are here, but Katlyn's still like above her. So, she still proved that she's still a very, very solid fighter. And that's the last time I picked against experience. I usually don't pick against experience, especially if you still have the hunger. If that person has the hunger and the freshness, which Katlyn still had, all that's going to beat just technical skills all day long. The drive, experience, and the hunger is going to beat just a technical fighter all day long. If the technical fighter doesn't have those other attributes and they don't know how to execute, then it's going to be a long night, or it might be a short night. It might get stopped. And I think that, like I said, that was the theme of my last videos. When I did these prediction videos, was just execution. That's the theme here. Execution, man. A game plan can be there. It can be right in front of your face. The answer can be right there. But how you're going to execute it, do you have the ability to execute? Those are the questions. And Antonina just didn't have the ability to execute a good game plan that's right in your training camp. Even in your own way, you couldn't even find out your own way on how to beat a fighter like Katlyn Chookagian. And I think, man, if she did have just the ability to execute and the IQ, she could have been ranked number 20. But if she had that IQ, she could have beat the number 2 fighter in Katlyn Chookagian. If she had that IQ, and that was something that she proved. Antonina proved that night. She didn't have that IQ, man, to execute. She didn't know how to adjust her style from Muay Thai to being a little bit quicker on her feet, to being just a striker. She should have just played the striker role that night instead of playing the Muay Thai fighter. A striker, and using her takedown defense. Takedown defense was just not there. It was non-existent. Antonina just did not have it, and it was like body language too. That's why Caitlin, being a smarter fighter, Caitlin knew from the body language that this is going to be an easy night. Right from the first round, whenever she timed that first leg kick and caught it and took her down, she was like, this is easy. Because the way she was able to handle Antonina's body and take her down, and there was no force there, no going down, no sprawling to stop the takedowns, just straight, boom, grabbing the hips. I just looked at it again, and I was like, you just grab the hips, take that person down. I was like, this is going to be a long night for Antonina if she don't get choked out. And Caitlin just showed you that she studies, even on her level. She still knows that, hey, I still have it, and I know what that person doesn't have. That's a very important part of the game, is just knowing what another person possesses in that situation, and Antonina just showed me that at 35, it's going to be tough for her to really develop into a solid, complete mixed martial artist. Solid Muay Thai fighter, excellent Muay Thai fighter, excellent Muay Thai game. But what I saw at night against Caitlin, it was just like, man, she didn't know how to switch her stance up. She didn't know how to use angles. She was standing straight in front of her. Again, whenever Caitlin would shoot in, she didn't know how to, get right there on her feet. She would just get taken down and take it. And when she was on the ground, she was just helpless. And that was my question earlier to y'all. Like, do you think that Antonina will eventually become a solid mixed martial artist? Like, will she get the grasp of it, in another year or two? Will she get that? Will she be getting that, at the age of 35? Again, like I said, it all comes down to execution. I don't know. Like, my answer to that is I really don't know right now, because she didn't really show it in this fight that she could evolve. Like, I couldn't even give her a single round where she had some points in there, where she had some moments. She didn't have any moments in this fight. And it just goes back to somebody like JoJo Calderwood. Like, if you go back to the Caitlin Chikagian fight, JoJo lost a close fight in that one. I felt JoJo did enough to win it, but JoJo, also a Muay Thai fighter, still has a lot of work to do, in my opinion, but I think she could eventually get there, because she's definitely evolving now. She has a good takedown defense that's growing. She has a good ground game. When she was on the ground with Caitlin a couple of times, she was able to, survive and do some things on the ground, even when she was getting outstruck by Caitlin. So I think that somebody like JoJo has shown that she can evolve. She can switch the style up, switch the footwork up, learn how to strike more like a striker for mixed martial arts than a Muay Thai fighter. Perfect example, of course, is Joanna. Joanna doesn't have the full-on Muay Thai stance no more. She boxes a little bit more, stays on the outside well, gets the shots off, bounces out. Always in a position to throw the front kick or the side kick and get out of danger. A wrestler shoots in and boom, she's there. Because if she's not going to be a ground fighter, you got to have excellent takedown defense. And that's what she has. She became strong as hell in that point. And that's what I think Antonina needs to be doing, in the in camp. Another solid number one is Valentina, and that's why I said, even in my prediction video of the day, it was that it may be sisters and they may have that game plan in there, but they're two different people. They're two different people. Valentina, I said this in another video, is kind of like the Floyd Mayweather in the flyweight division for the women, because I think defense is very important to her. This is something I talked with coach about too as well. Like, defense is very important to her, and self-preservation is, so she makes everything she throws count. She's very economical. She's very, very physically strong, and her timing is great. Her timing is great because she's always looking for those efficient shots to get off. And when she takes you to the ground, she's going to make it count and try to finish you. So overall, Valentina just has a really great grasp of being a mixed martial artist. And to be that, and to be a great stand-up fighter at the same time, you really have to be very defensive minded like she is. Sometimes it can cost you a fight, but it won't cost you like a serious L. Like Nunes was able to beat her both times, but not like very dominant. It was mostly, a good stand-up fight, but at the same time, it was the defense that kind of cost her the fight. But at the same time, it's keeping her intact. So the defense along the way is something that Antonina is really going to have to master. If you want to be a striker, then your defense has really got to be solid. Again, Joanna, takedown defense is great, so she can always keep a fight boxing or standing. So just so many things that Antonina, we got to really see from her in there. I think again, she's really grasped. Of course, she's already grasped her discipline of Muay Thai, but just being an overall fighter, you got to have that fighter in you. And even in boxing, I say that sometimes, there's great boxers, but then there's like great fighters. A fighter was always going to find a way to win, whether he's going on the defense or whether he's fighting on the inside. He's always looking for those ways to win because he's fighting for what he believes is his, or he's fighting to keep what's his, So I think Antonina just has to grasp a lot of that stuff mentally. But let me know in the comment section what y'all think. Do you think Antonina will get it? Do you think she'll ever like reach a certain point in the top 10 at flyweight? Just let me know in the comment section. But real quick, Mackenzie Dern, her win against Hannah Cifers, it was basically what you would expect from a focused on weight Mackenzie Dern. I think Mackenzie Dern is a very dangerous fighter when she makes her weight. Again, I still feel like she should be 125, but when she's at 115 and she's on point, she's a dangerous fighter. Still can get a little too excited in there, I think, as far as darting in, but once she gets you to the ground, or if you try to trip her up and take her down, it's over. It's pretty much a done deal, and that's what she did with Hannah Cifers. Hannah Cifers, to me, kind of proved in this fight that her thing isn't necessarily her skill set or like her being too weak or being overpowered or over strength. I think it's the IQ. I still think that you really have to be on game when you're dealing with a fighter that has a specialty. Smart move in this fight would have been to just keep it on the outside. At times you can sling a girl around like she was doing. Like she went on the inside with Mackenzie Dern like once or twice, and she did the little ragdoll to Mackenzie Dern, then went out with the elbow, but that's fine. But if you get taken down and you're able to pop back up, move. Don't get caught on the ground with a submission specialist like Mackenzie Dern, and I still think that's something that she really needs to work on. Fighters like Angela Hill that took her down. Angela Hill is another good example of a fighter that's evolving and growing with a good IQ. Carla Esparza. To me, another bad example, I think, is Claudia Gadelha. Like, she's still a fighter that really needs to really work on her using her strengths in the fight. I think that she kind of can kind of just plateau in a fight and kind of go through the motions. Hannah looks strong. Hannah just needs to be a little bit smarter in there. Use your skills to your best advantage. Use your strengths. So yeah, from here, if Mackenzie Dern can continue to make weight, then fine. Stay at straw weight. Maybe take on Angela Hill next. That would be a good fight because Claudia Gadelha is not giving Angela Hill a rematch from what I heard. So Mackenzie Dern versus Angela Hill, that would be a good fight. Hannah Cifers, maybe go back to the drawing board and just kind of work on some things. She definitely looks strong at this weight, but I really have to kind of put a question who she can fight from here. Yan Xiaonan or somebody like that to kind of really test where she's at. That would be a good fight. But I would also say maybe atomweight. If they can make an atomweight division, that's the weight that she would need to be at. Hannah Cyphers. But yeah, man, moving on, last topic, Amanda Nunes versus Felicia Spencer. Like I said, I'll be doing a live stream with my keys to victory on that in a little bit. I'll have to say, this is, first of all, like I say, this is a good fight. Felicia Spencer deserves this title shot. I think she deserves it we don't have many ladies to choose from, but something about her, I just like her as a fighter. She talks a good game without being so brash and loud. She gives off the same energy. I won't say this, well, almost similar to a Holly Holm as far as just having the courage to take on anybody. You asked her if she wants to fight Cyborg, I'm there. Megan Anderson, I'm there. Amanda Nunes, I'm there. She's really somebody that wants to just prove that she's a fighter. And you can't help but want to see somebody like that become champion. Can she win this fight? She can win it. Of course, I'll give you my keys to victory and how I think the fight will go. But, anything is possible. And, she's definitely got the heart and the determination and the dog in her to pull out the intangibles, to pull out the impossible. She definitely has that ability. So I definitely can't say this is a one-sided fight for Amanda Nunes. And Nunes, I think this is going to be a good test for her as far as just seeing where she is physically now. The older you get, sometimes you can't really keep up with the timing of some of these younger fighters out here. I know Amanda Nunes ain't like 40 or 5 or 50 or anything like that, but boxing, MMA, more fights you take, the older you just get. The worse the beatings are. Let's put it that way. The worse the beatings are, that can put a wear and tear on you. Because Amanda Nunes, I'm just making sure. Yeah, she's 32. She's 32, but definitely a little bit older physically because of the wear and tear on your body. The fights you had. But let me double check Felicia Spencer's age here. I want to say Felicia's like, is she 20? I think she was like 28. I don't know why that number keeps sticking with me, so I just want to make sure. Let's see. Felicia 29. Yeah, Felicia Spencer is 29. So, and she's a fresh 29, a very strong 29. So I think that this is going to be a big test for Amanda Nunes as far as just like seeing if she can still hang with physical strength and somebody that's just going to be like pushing her all night, Felicia Spencer knowing that she doesn't have like the technique or the exact tools to go skill for skill with Nunes. So she's going to go dog. She's going to go dog and make it an ugly fight like you're supposed to do, against somebody with a higher skill set. You're supposed to just disrespect them and go in their house like that, throw them around. So we're going to see if Nunes has that ability to nullify that. She did excellent on the ground against a bigger, taller fighter in Jermaine Durandame. But I think that Felicia's a hell of a lot better on the ground. I think her on the ground is just, that's one point that she really, I won't say like she's a ground specialist, but when she gets to the ground, she can find a way to win. That's Felicia Spencer. I think that she's very, very dangerous on the ground. And if this fight goes to the ground, it's going to be a lot more dangerous for Nunes. But if Nunes can keep it standing, then it'll be Nunes' fight, no doubt. But like I said, I'm not going to give you a prediction yet. I'll give you that later, a little bit later tonight. But I do like the fight. I do like the fight. Let me know in the comment section here, y'all, if y'all want to tell me who you think's going to win this fight. But yeah, man, that's pretty much all I got for this episode. I'm going to do another episode exclusively on boxing probably this weekend if I get a chance. And, like I said, I want to touch more on the welterweight division. So it's going to be more welterweight talk there. And I'm also working on another show, called The Harsh Realities of Boxing. Another episode, Harsh Realities of Boxing. And I'm going to be kind of going in on just some of the situations in boxing, because as much as I love the sport, I still have to kind of show you some of the things that do piss me off about it too as well. And, just going in on the real. But yeah, man, that's all I got on this, guys. Make sure y'all subscribe here, Combo Breaker 99 YouTube channel, All Boxing Everything is Instagram. Combo Breaker 99 Instagram. Subscribe to the Jab Podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And like I said, hope things, start to get a little bit better out here, man. But, it is what it is right now. But, yeah, like I said, y'all be safe. I'm out. Peace.